Welcome to the Basics of Substance Painter. My name is Ian and I'm a video game artist. The aim of this video is to get your models in and textured and looking as awesome as possible as quickly as possible. You should definitely check out the algorithmic tutorials for Substance Painter. They're really in-depth and they can tell you everything you need to know about the program. But I found that not everyone has the time it takes to consume and process all those videos, especially if you've only got 30-day trial to check out the program. So I'll give you a quick UI overview and then we will texture a model from scratch. Okie dokie, just a quick UI overview. This is your toolbar up here, your viewing window here, your lovely little shelf with lots of nice stuff in, layers, texture list. This is where the materials go that you import from whatever 3D package you have. Viewer settings. This is for the actual environment in which your model is placed in. Display settings obviously affects the camera that you're viewing through with post effects. And then your texture settings. This is where you do all the baking and can import maps from other places such as XNormal or Nulled. Then the properties, this is where you affect the materials that you use in the layers. So yeah. So I'm just going to change the UI so to get it how I like it. Okay, so now I've got the UI the way I like it. Let's import a model. File, new. The template here is just the shader parameters that you have in there. I just have it on spec gloss. Let's import the model. Then you can set the resolution here. You don't have to do any particular one because you can change it later with no, as it says here, without any loss. You can import any maps that you already have here, but I don't have any for this model. Okay, here's our little model. Right. First things first, let's bake these textures. Just going to hit bake. On this output size here, as far as I know, this one doesn't scale up. So what I like to do is set it to a higher thing, and then it's easier to go down than bring it back up. You can always rebake them later, obviously. So then you've got your normals. Basically, these just do all their own things. Just going to turn off ID because I don't have any IDs in there. On the ambient occlusion, I like to turn off back face culling because, for instance, here where the pole is meeting the floor there, if I leave that on back face culling, then it sometimes has seams around the edge here, which can be annoying. So I'm going to turn that off. And let's bake. Okay, now we've got our model here and we've baked our textures. Just a quick word about this this viewer here. When you first come in, it may actually look like that. So obviously this is our 3D viewer and then our UVs. You can flip between these, so you can have both of them up if that's easier for you to work on. You can also paint directly on here or directly on here. Then, so that's F1 to get both of these up, F2 for just the 3D viewer, then F3 for just the UV. And a quick note when you're in the UV viewer, if you hold down Alt and then left click on here, it rotates it. I don't think there's any way for you to actually put in some numbers or anything, or even just hit a box just to get it straight back. So that's kind of annoying. But if you just hit F, you can just center it again, frame it, get it as best you can, and then just head back. So one thing I would recommend you do first of all is just go down into the smart materials and just have a play with some of these things. Just put them on. Just drag them up into the layers here, and then you can instantly just see your model looking pretty cool, and just have a play around with it. It's also a good way to find out how they're making these things. So you see it's got a marble base and then they've just got a dirt on top. I'll explain how to make these shortly. But it's always cool to just drag in these smart ones. So these are smart materials that have already been made by other people. Then you've also got your just materials here, which are basic ones that don't have aren't being told to just work in the shadows or anything like that. Okay, let's just talk a little bit about layers. So this is a regular, completely empty layer, and from this you can paint onto the model. Hi, I'm painting on the model, which is totally fine. To change the color and things, if you collapse those and go into the material mode, you can change it all here. So this is cool, but the problem with this is that you can't like edit things afterwards. You can just end up with too much variety, and like sometimes you might want to be able to edit things a bit more. So you don't want to go too deep into a painting thing and end up having to like completely redo it because you've noticed a mistake. So one thing I would recommend is using a fill layer. And what a fill layer does is obviously it fills it, but with the fill layer you then use a mask to paint on. So if you go up to here, go add black mask, and then within this mask I paint. Oh, sorry, we should just change this color down. So you can flip-flop between the mask and the material layer, the fill layer. So if you go to the mask and then have it all the way white, which is obviously on in this instance, and then you can paint. Then if you go back to the material, we can just change that, and obviously it's changing the whole thing. You can also add height to this. It basically just means that you can adjust things on the fly when you couldn't before. So painting on the mask is good. If you use a brush like this one that I made, that is using like pen pressure to adjust the flow, and then by hitting X it changes it back to black, so that's flip-flopping between black and white. So I use this to kind of work away at things when I'm doing more hand-painted stuff. It's pretty handy. The brushes, they behave pretty much exactly the same as they do in Photoshop. So you got your size jitter, it's all there. I made this one for work, and it's pretty fun and useful. You can always update it as well. You can save it to a shelf, which is handy. So if we talk about these fill layers and the material here, these are the options that you get when they come up. So you've got diffuse, spec, gloss, height, normal, emission. Diffuse, obviously, that's your base color. Then the specular color, glossiness. That's just how much it's reflecting the environment around it. Height, obviously, up and down. Then the normal, you can add procedural or grunge things to this. Emissive, this makes it emit a light. See? But you can also turn all of these on and off if you find that like you're like scrolling up and down things and it's getting a bit annoying. You can just turn on the ones that you want in a fill layer. That's a nice way to do it, I think. It may also reduce the file size of the project, but I'm not sure about that, so don't quote me. So let's just remove this mask here. So that fills the whole thing, and let's just let's separate out the things that we want here. So we'll leave this at the bottom because this is our base layer. Then I'm going to add a folder up the top. I'm going to make another fill layer, put that in the folder, and then this folder I'm going to add a mask to it, and I'm going to use one of my favorite tools in Substance, which is the polygon fill, which is this one up here. So what this does is you can just select individual polygons for the mask. Like, this is just really fun. You can also paint the mask out and stuff. But if we just flip to this view, we can see it here, and the color. We can see which ones I'm selecting, and so on. So you don't have to go in like painting all these crazy masks. If you've laid the UVs out in a nice way, then you can just do it so quickly. So if we this one here, you just hover over that. Triangle fill, so if you've got lots of triangles in there, that just fills them. This one right now is the polygon. This one is object fill, that's the one that I'm going to use. And then this one is UV, so this is the UV islands. So if I click on this UV island here, boom. So that's just done these. These seams aren't sewn here, so the vertices aren't sewn together, but if an object is all sewn together, sometimes it's kind of a pain if you just want to fill a certain area. So the UV island is really useful for that. You group together things that you want to be the same material. So hitting X also flip-flops between the black and the white. So we just make it black again. We're on UV island. But now what we're going to do is we're going to do this railing here. So I'm going to go to object. And this is made of 3 objects. It's made of the top of the railing and just these 2 posts. So with the this object one clicked, I just click, boom, 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 hooray! And then if we press 1 again, flip back to this, go to material mode. And then, yeah, there we go. We've soloed that, we've selected it out. Okay, so now I've just gone and made folders for each of the 3 sections. So I've got the floor and the top of the wall here. I've got the wall that's got its own one, and then I've got the railing. So let's just go and edit the floor here. We'll make a duplicate of that layer. This one is going to be our dirt for this whole thing. So maybe if I just make it kind of a sort of dirty brown, put the gloss all the way down so there's nothing reflecting there, it's really flat. Then we go add a black mask, then add generator and add dirt, and there we go, we've got some dirt. And you see, because the dirt now has no specular, if I rotate the scene like this, it looks really cool, and you can see where the dirt is and things. Makes it seem a lot more kind of real. Okay, let's add some, let's just make this more of a concrete-y looking thing. And then let's add a nice white there, black mask, generator, and go metal edge. The fact that it says metal doesn't really mean much. We're just trying to get these edges all highlighted. So you can add the wear. And then add or make the height ever so slightly indented so it looks like it's been knocked away. Also here, let's take the spec right down as well. Back to the mask. If we go to paint layer, I want to paint out some of these areas here so it's it's more worn towards the edge here. So let's just put that to the black and then just paint out here. Same up here. A little shortcut for expanding or contracting your paintbrush is to hold down Control and then right click and then slide left to right, or you could just do the open and close brackets just like Photoshop. So that's our edges done. Okay, so we're going to color this rail here. This time I'm going to use the materials down here. So we'll just go with rough steel. If you just if you're on the material here, then you can click on these and cycle through them. Then we'll make another one, another fill layer, and this time we're going to go rust fine. Then let's use some smart masks. I'm not sure what the difference is between these and generators. These seem a bit more bespoke rather than an overall thing. They have a very specific function. So if we use rust ground here, just drag that onto the mask. Obviously it's just applying it near the ground, which is really cool. If you just go onto the material here, add a tiny bit more rust, and then we've got a rusty rail. Right, let's finish this wall here. So I got this this bricks material off the Substance Share page. There we go. For some reason the diffuse and all these things are turned off by default with it, but there we go. You can just add that on. It comes with a load of settings you can play around with, a crazy amount actually, but I'm not going to do that right now. Just add a dirt layer to this. Just dirt, and then glossiness right down. Okay, so there we go. There's a little scene done with just kind of some basic stuff. If we turn the environment back up and take a look at it there. There we go. We've got a kind of fairly cool little thing really quickly with just a few basic things. So basically this program is all about just playing around with stuff. So now I'll show you another one of the things that I've made. Say hello to the Lovehawk. This is just a concept piece that I made a little while back for fun. I may come back to it at some point just to add some like pedals and things. So it's a little speeder bike, and I kind of wanted it to be like used but not completely trashed. There's a tendency with programs like this to just absolutely trash things, so I kind of wanted to have like a nice balance. And with this model, I did bring in a high poly model, so the kind of edge here I did in a higher poly version. I also I did this little keypad here in a higher poly version, and I used some alphas here. So although that keypad's similar, I did one in a high poly thing. I used this shapes here and a height, changing the height on the material to make that vent and these kind of little lights there. I also used that here for this pipe, and this is from the higher poly model, this too. So yeah, this is what I managed to achieve with just some basic layers and generators, and you just kind of end up like stacking it all up. Hopefully this video has just given you a few basics with these masks so that you can do it all yourself, and then learn the more advanced things from the algorithmic tutorials when you have a bit more time. I really love this program. It's really made me fall in love with modeling again, just because I get to see, you know, the results of my modeling a lot quicker, and it just makes things look awesome very quickly. I hope you found this video useful, and Maybe I'll do some more. I don't know. Cheers!